It's a mindset, it's a discipline. When bad things are happening, find the good and start thinking. Cause we can design our day. Cause we got the capacity to make our blues go away. Choose gratitude in spades. Every moment we're awake. We got to concentrate. Make gratitude dominate. Make negative go away with the things we do and say.
Yeah, it's my day. I won't sit and wait till Friday. God gave me the grace to make change. By God's grace, He breaks every chain. I don't have to sit around and settle for the same thing. Brand new day with a blessing, that's a great thing. Pedal to the metal, hit the gas and we racing.
Cause we can design my day. Cause we got the capacity to make our blues go away. Choose gratitude in spades. Every moment we're awake. We got to concentrate. Make gratitude dominate. Make negative go away with the things we do and say.
On my shoulders, weather gets colder. Rain pouring down on me like it's boulders. I'm falling on my knees praying, Lord, just give me strength to stand and weather this storm. Cause I know I cannot do it alone. In chaos, you'll bring peace to my soul. As a dead man, you breathe life in my bones. Now I'm finally back home and I'm back in my zone. And I design my day from day one. From the moment I am waking up and my hands raised high. Cause I gotta thank God, cause I gotta thank God.
Cause we can design my day. Cause we got the capacity to make our blues go away. Choose gratitude in spades. Every moment we're awake. We got to concentrate. Make gratitude dominate. Make negative go away with the things we do and say.
I want you to imagine something for a moment. Imagine two people. They wake up at the same time. They have the same job. They have the same bills. They have the same number of hours in their day. But by 9 a.m., one of them is already winning and the other one is already losing. Nothing has happened yet. No big break, no bad luck, no accident. But by 9 a.m., the gap between them is wider than it was when they opened their eyes. You see, in the first few hours of the day, your willpower is full. Your decision-making is sharp. Your defenses haven't been worn down yet by other people's demands. You are at your strongest before the world gets to you. And what you do in that window, when you are at your strongest, determines what you have left when the world starts pulling at you.
I started a business because I couldn't work for anyone else. I do things my way. I do what I think is in the best interest of the patient. I don't answer to insurance companies. I don't answer to large corporate organizations. I answer to my patient, and that's it. My thought when I opened my clinic was I can do this all myself. I don't need additional outside help in many ways. I went to medical school. I can figure this out. But it was a very, very steep learning curve. Within the first 6 months of opening my clinic, I had a $63,000 embezzlement. I lost multiple employees. Clay helped us weather the storm of some of the things that are just a lot of people experience, especially in the medical world. He was instrumental in helping with the specific written business plan. He's been instrumental in hiring good quality employees, using the processes that he outlines for getting in good talent, which is extremely difficult. He helped me in securing the business loans. He helped me with web development and search engine optimization. We've been able to really keep a steady stream of clients coming in because they found us on the web. With everything that I encountered, everything that I experienced, I quickly learned it is worth every penny to have someone in your team that can walk you through and even avoid some of the pitfalls that are almost invariable in starting your own business. I'm Dr. Chad Edwards, and I own Revolution Health and Wellness Clinic.
Hi, my name is Tim Johnson. I'm the owner of Tuscaloosa Ophthalmology, as well as Southern Eye Consultants, two ophthalmology practices in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and I'm a client of Clay Clark. He asked me to answer a couple questions. The first question was, how did I hear about Clay Clark? I am a big fan of business podcasts, and his podcast popped up as a recommended listening, so I started listening to the podcast. I was a little suspicious or skeptical because I thought there was going to be like an upcharge or an upsell, but the idea of the month-to-month canceling really appealed to me. And I kept waiting for the shoe to drop and for the upsell or for the scam to come in, but it never did. It's very legitimate. Since working with Clay, I've gotten a much firmer grasp on how business works. Even in medicine, business is business. I've learned a lot about marketing, especially how Google reviews work and how important that is. And that's very important even in medicine. At least once a week, if not every day, I get a new patient because somebody Googled eye doctor in Tuscaloosa or ophthalmologist in Tuscaloosa. And you'd be amazed how many patients just look for an eye doctor that way. And so he's really changed our business. Our business has grown a lot, maybe 15 to 20% this year. And so we're really grateful for the things he's done for our business. And the last question was, when did I perfect the laugh? I would say that you can never perfect the laugh. You just keep working at it, and just keeps getting better and better each day. But you got to keep working at it.
Oh, look at this cute baby. What a great baby. Quality baby. That's a healthy baby. Okay. Thrive Nation, on today's show, I'm very excited for you to hear this success story about this wonderful couple that, Sean, I would describe them as they are killing the game in the most nonviolent way possible. They're killing the game.
Yeah.
In the most nonviolent way possible. They are blowing up in a good way. Folks, I'm telling you, these folks are really growing their business, and what makes them great is they're really kind, hardworking, diligent people, and we're honored to serve them. We've got Jenny and Mike here joining us. Jenny and Mike, welcome to the Thrivetime Show. How are you two?
Hi, thank you. Good. We're doing well.
Okay, now I'll start with you, Jenny, because frankly, Sean likes you more. No, I'm just kidding. So let's start with you. So how did you first discover us and the business coaching that we provide?
So I was listening to different podcasts about business. I was starting up our business. And so you were the first one to pop up on our podcast on Apple. I think Apple is what I was on. And so I started listening to you. I got on your website, and I was just a little girl starting a business. And I said, I'm going to ask this guy to be my coach. And I don't think I'm going to get a shot, but sure enough, within a week, you called me.
Now, who is this cute child here? But Micah, who is this cute kid here?
It's Lennon Rose. She is about to be 10 months old.
I hate to do this to you, but can you kind of hold up the baby to the camera a little bit? This is probably, oh, look at this cute baby. What a great baby. Quality baby. That's a healthy baby. Okay. So Mike, can you tell us what's the name of your website there? I think people want to look you up and verify you're real people that don't just happen to have a cute baby.
Yeah. Our website is newconcept.healthcare.
Newconcept.healthcare. So newconcept.healthcare. I'm going to pull it up right now, folks, so we can all verify that they're not just a couple who's taking advantage of the cute baby they have to get a podcast here. This is a real couple. Okay, so I'm pulling it up here. So this is the website. It's newconcept.healthcare. And can you tell our listeners what services do you guys provide at newconcept.healthcare?
So we offer more functional medicine. So we offer IV therapies. We offer hormone replacement therapies. We also do acute care. We do pretty much everything, but we're very much alternative. So we believe in medical freedom, and that's what we offer.
And you guys, you reached out. Do you remember that initial consultation there? Do you remember, Mike, that initial consultation? Do you remember what that was like?
Yeah, it was actually pretty overwhelming that we were starting this business with absolutely nothing, and we had the opportunity to work with Thrivetime Show.
Well, you know, the one thing I always try to do is, you know, my father, great guy, may he rest in peace. He worked his tail off like so many people do, and there was no real economic result that was achieved from it. There wasn't any, you know, he had the college degree. He's working 2 jobs. I remember he's late 30s. He's working at Domino's, delivering pizzas, working at Quick Trip. He worked at furniture stores. And I always try to look at every new client we have as though I'm talking to my dad, you know, because like, what would my dad, you know, what could he have learned at the age of 37 that could have changed the financial trajectory of his life? You know, and I try to look at it that way. And so you guys, I paired you up with Sean. You've been working with Sean, I believe, Sean, since October of 2020. Is that correct, Sean?
I think that's when they started their business. It wasn't until about April of 2021 when we actually got going.
So April of 2021. And at that point, from that point to now, Sean, how much of growth have you guys achieved from 2021 to now? Do you know that number?
Yeah, I mean, we're sitting at 2023 revenues were 821,000, and they're in October of 2020. Like they only had a few months, but they made about 95,000 by the end of 2020, and then we grew significantly that first year to about 375% to 588,000. And we continued to grow there ever since, all the way up to where we're getting close to the $1 million mark at this point here, just like 3 years in.
Jenny, how would you describe the growth? Would you say you've doubled? Are you 5 times larger? How would you describe that?
Oh no, I definitely feel the growth. There's been some growing pains, and you guys have helped us through that too. So it's been amazing. It's been amazing to help people, because that's what I'm passionate about. And you guys have really helped us expand and tell people what we're about.
So step one here, we do this with all the clients. I'm going to walk people through the steps. We really needed to nail down your branding. And that's a big thing, because, branding is to humans what clothing is. So as an example, you wake up today, folks, if you run around and you're streaking through life, you're probably not going to get a lot of conversations started. So we all have to be intentional about, what are we going to wear? Are we going to wear a tie? Are we going to wear a polo? Are we going to do makeup? Are we not? So people, they judge us based on our appearance. And so we really had to get a website built. We had to optimize the online brand. Jenny, we do it all included for our clients. So we don't refer you to another vendor. We do it all. Can you talk about the impact that has made on the business?
Oh, for sure. Just the website itself, it looks so great. We would have never been able to make it look that great. The way y'all optimize everything and keep us, with Google, where people search us and that we're the first people that come up. And that's actually how we've established our business and started offering some of the things that we offer, is because of the tags that we have. I didn't originally start off as doing IV therapy, but due to people Googling, healthcare functional medicine, I had 3 phone calls in a week that said, "Hey, do you offer IV therapy?" And it was very interesting. And I was like, well, no, but I can. And so it was because of you guys that kind of snowballed and took effect. So yeah, there's a lot that you guys have done for us.
Now, Sean, when working with these wonderful clients here, I'll pick on Mike here. You always say great things about Mike and Jenny. What makes them good to work with? Because I want to make sure for anybody out there, if you go to thrivetimeshow.com, I consistently offer a free 13-point assessment. I've been doing that since 2005. I do it without reservation. There's no obligation, but there's usually about 1 to 2 knuckleheads a week that will fill out the form, and probably 20 really great people that fill out the form. And then we only take on 160 clients. And so I don't want anyone to waste their time. What makes Mike so great to work with?
Well, Clay, I mean, when I first started coaching, you taught me about these 2 types of business owners. There's the happy hopers out there, and then there's the diligent doers. And I think these guys are a great example of the diligent doer. They continually apply effort to work on their business, not just in their business. They consistently show up to their meetings. They track all of the critical numbers of their business, and they're aware of what's going on with all of their employees. They're paying attention to all the little things going on. They're keeping all the plates spinning, and they ask great questions. They actually really do make a great effort consistently to apply our systems and help their business grow. And it's been working.
So step one, we get the branding nailed down. That's the website, the print pieces, the logos, the business cards. But then you have to develop that online reputation. Now that could be a tough thing to do, Jenny. And I'll just, this isn't a backhanded compliment. I'm just saying, but for people that are humble and very kind, of which I would put Jenny in that category, sometimes asking for reviews is more difficult because you almost feel like you're self-promoting. I've never had this conversation with you, but has that been difficult for you to ask people to give you video reviews and Google reviews after you provided the service, or was that easy for you to do?
It was not. It's not easy. It still isn't easy.
Okay.
It is. It's difficult because you feel like you're begging for something, even though you did the right thing.
Yeah.
So it's difficult for me. It's just my personality type, but we get it done anyways.
I'll find this for the diligent, kind customers we work with. It's very difficult sometimes to ask for those objective reviews from real customers. And I find that from my clients I've worked with that are sort of like self-described barbarians. I had a guy years ago I worked with. I won't mention his name or his industry, but I'll just say he's obsessed with physical fitness. And he told me, he says, I'm kind of a business barbarian. You tell me what to do and I will slay the dragons. And I'm like, okay, you need to get Google reviews from everybody you've ever, worked with. And he's like, oh, I'm on it. And this guy's just shamelessly calling through his phone and just lighting people up going, give me a review. Come on, give me a review. Why will you not give me it? I'm like, go ahead, dial it down a little bit. So again, you guys are humble, diligent doers. You're the ideal person here. So I appreciate you sharing that. The next thing we had to do is we had to create a no-brainer. Now, a no-brainer is an offer so good, so amazing that people simply cannot say no to it. Now, I won't mention the name of the company, but I worked years ago and I still work with this company. They're a medical company. They're doing well now. And for whatever reason, they put on their website, first initial consult, $497. And he went to one of these like borderline spiritual motivational conference things where Jesus isn't described, but they kind of talk about metaphysical alignment and getting your woo-saw, getting in your groove, alignment, no friction. And he came back and he's like, Clay, I believe in the 7th number of completion. I go, I agree. He says 4 is the number that's urgent. I'm like, okay. Not, and I go, what? And he's like, I don't want tire kickers. So I'm going to do $497 for my first consult. That way I don't deal with the tire kickers. And I'm like, Doc, I love you so much. You're a doctor. I love it. You don't have any customers though. That's why you came to me. You don't have any customers. So why don't you do a first free consult? He's like, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to kick out Sean, the tire kicker. So I'm sure you've never seen this with a client.
Oh, never.
And so now what makes it worse is his wife also went to the Metaphysical Alignment Motivational Jackassery Festival. And she was like, 497 is the number. I had a dream about it. I'm like, yeah, because you probably talked about it all weekend. You probably are subconsciously thinking about it. You're creating a neural pathway related to 497. And so anyway, after about a year, he finally says, okay, I came to your conference and I saw a person that did the first consult for $1. I'm going to go with that. And now his business is blowing up. Could you talk about your no-brainer, your first consult for $1? How has that helped you having that no-brainer offer?
Yeah, so it gets people in. And so when we get people in, we know that we're doing a good job and we know that we're trustworthy and our healthcare is superior to most. So just getting people in for that $1, because a lot of people are, they're nervous about going to the doctor or they don't trust healthcare system. And so they know that they can come in, they're only going to spend $1. They can figure out whether or not they trust us, figure out whether or not we're the place for them. And we know 100% of the time we will be. So it's really helped us just get people in and get people to trust us more.
Now, once somebody fills out the form, folks, again, there's a linear pathway here. I'm trying to give you a visual here. So you establish your revenue goals. You figure out your numbers to break even. You figure out how many hours a week you're willing to work. Even though you have a cute baby, you got to figure out how you're going to get it done. And step number 4 is you define your unique value proposition. What makes you unique? That's something you and Sean have worked on together. You improve your branding. Now you're coming in contact with humans. Business is a contact sport. I love this part. That's when you start marketing. You launch your marketing. You have your online ads. You optimize your website. You begin to come up top in the search results. You start to get leads. Do you remember what it was like, Jenny, when you first got your first online lead? Do you remember the first one where you're like, it's working? Did you remember that moment?
Yeah, it was almost like we did celebrate because it finally had happened. And then as soon as the first one came in, the second one came in. And like I said, it was almost a growing pain experience. We had so many leads so fast. So it was great. And we still celebrate every lead that we get.
Now, Mike, the next step is you have to make sales scripts. We recommend to every client that the calls are recorded for quality assurance. You have a sales script. The calls are recorded for quality assurance. You have a one sheet that tracks your pricing. You have pre-written emails. You begin tracking. Sean's always bragging about you guys with tracking. Mike, how has it helped to have tracking in place where you can see, how does that help you?
Well, it's really a good benefit because, at the end of the week, what your income was, what your leads was. So wherever we're lacking in, we can quickly adjust and make that adjustment to make it work for the next week.
Now, if you don't have tracking, folks, this is a true story. It's kind of a sad story, so I'll speak in generality, Sean. I talked to a guy the other day. This is a terrible story. Longtime client, and he got motivated. He set up a trade show. He didn't tell me he's doing that. It's fine. You don't have to tell me, but he set up a trade show. I think he was going to try to surprise me with the fruit of the trade show. So he set up the trade show, and he gets on the call. His energy's kind of off, and I'm like, "Are you okay?" "Yeah, dude, fine." What's wrong?" I don't know. I'm like, your lead sheet, we're getting, 10 to 15 leads a week. It's very consistent. Revenue looks good. He's like, yeah, I'm in a tight spot. Well, you're in a tight spot. Why are you in a tight spot? He says, I did a trade show. You did a trade show? Yeah, I got roped into 4. I did a thing where you get the billboard, you get the trade show, you get the magazine ad. And I did the trade show and we got no leads. And I go, what kind of trade show did you do? And he says, well, I went to the whatever trade show. And Sean, what I find is that there's the emotional excitement about being on the billboard, being on the magazine cover, and he got called by one of these kind of scam. I call it a scamockery or jackassery.
Yeah.
They call you and they go, boop, 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 boop. Hey, is this Sean?
Yeah, this is Sean.
Sean, yeah, we noticed that you have an incredible healthcare company, and we want to honor you by giving you the yada yada of the region award. It's the yada yada. It's a regional, it's a prestigious award. We'd like to meet with you. Can we meet with you?
Yeah.
So now I meet here. Now, Sean, again, we're on the phone, but I still like the phone voice here. So now Sean, so because we're so honored, we're inviting you to a plated dinner to honor your honor, your honoredness, your greatness, your humbleness. And it's going to be $1,000 a plate, for you and your wife. And did you want 4 seats or 8? Because most people do 8.
Oh, I guess just 4.
4, and that does include a glossy magazine feature in we'll just call it like Missouri local top doctor jackassery. It's a great magazine. Oh. And you're also on you'll be on a billboard. We've teamed up with the billboard. It rotates through. You're going to see her face. Hey, don't get too excited. And just because we're honored, we're not, again, we're just honored. Now, did you want to do the 4 tickets, sir?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, the way it works is it's going to be 4 payments of $4,000 for a total of $16,000. And that's, no, I'm serious. And now they're in the trade shows and he's going to the trade show and there ain't nobody there. There is nobody there. To be technical. Nobody was at this trade show. I mean, everybody was not at the trade show. No, he's got photos of like him and his wife and his team in an empty booth, and he's got a magazine and no leads are coming. And he was so excited to tell me. I'm sure you've never encountered this sort of thing, Virginia. Have you, Jenny, have you ever seen a situation where that sort of shamockery advertising has been entered into your world in some capacity?
I've been there. I've been exactly what you're talking about. And I've set up everything and paid employees. And I felt like I was nothing more than a free pin show. The only people that were there were people looking for free pins.
Oh, I know. And it feels terrible. And then you kind of have to sell it to yourself all day. But guys, we're getting our name out there. Sean, can you pass the megaphone back there? Right behind you. Yeah, because I tell people, if you want to get your name out there, what you do is you just run outside and say, right, come visit New Concept Healthcare. And people go, why are you yelling at me? I'm trying to shop for my groceries. New Concept Healthcare. Get my name out there. Getting my name. Is this effective? Of course it's effective. I'm getting my name out there. And then that leads to buying frisbees, branded frisbees,
right?
Koozies. You know what I'm saying? Branded pins.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, you buy these things. Sean, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we have to do, and I'm going to show you. This is kind of the back end of one of my companies called Elephant in the Room, and you do a search for eitrlounge.com. And then you go to /staff. I'm not going to give you the password, folks, but you log in. And these are all the systems needed to run the haircut chain. Now, one thing I thought was very interesting is Truth Social, President Trump's social media platform. The other day they were disclosing, Newsweek was disclosing the revenue of it.
Oh,
and I just want people to know this because I think, I just full disclosure, I'm a very conservative person, but I just want people to see this. This is just something to look at. Truth Social, they declared in their filing that they did $3.3 million of revenue and had $49 million of losses, which, by the way, that's very normal for a tech startup company. And their users are going up. And they're having there's like a reaction in the marketplace. People are actually putting more money in. They're investing. The stock price is going up. But I don't know anybody that I've met in my life. But I've never been a client that can afford to bring in 3.3 million and lose 49 million. So like for my haircut chain, we have 5 locations. We bring in more than 3.3 million. And this just in, we don't spend 49 million, So we have to, we call it a lean startup. You got to keep that thing lean. And so when you go to eitrlounge.com/staff, every document needed to manage the business is here. So the opening checklist for the manager, you click here, boom. This is what the manager has to do to start the day. Everything is documented. And that's kind of where we're at right now with Jenny and Mike's business. We're in the process of building all those checklists.
Yeah.
Sean, what kind of checklists have you built so far?
Oh man, we have a whole page. Their staff page is pretty built out. We're really getting there. I think more right now it's getting, correct me if I'm wrong, we need some managers in there so we can free you guys up from the business. And so we have a lot of the worker level systems. We're just now working on more of how do we get those manager level systems and find those high quality managers.
Now let me give Jenny a little mentor moment here. This will be helpful for you. I'm going to hop on a flight in about 2.5 hours, 3 hours to go to Denver. Right. And I got to go to Denver to meet with the founder of oxyfresh.com. This is a brand we've worked with and helped them to grow to 550 locations now. 550 locations. Okay. And if you type in carpet cleaning quotes, we're the world's highest rated and most reviewed company in the world. Okay. 274,000 reviews. We've been holding this idea in our mind for 15 consecutive years. I've been working on this, Sean, before I met you. We're grinding, okay?
Yeah.
And the biggest challenge that the locations have is managers, finding a good manager. And I tell people this, and it never goes over well, but hopefully eventually it will. I'll keep refining the idea. The kind of person that enjoys conflict, but also likes people, is a good manager. Let me try that again. The kind of person that enjoys conflict, but also likes people is a good manager. And I have found it's not so much trainable as it's findable.
Yeah.
So as an example, where we're getting ready to head out to Denver, Sean, you know my personality type, and you know that I have to pack all this stuff to get ready to go. You saw my suitcase out there.
Yep.
How many times do you think I've followed up with the people involved in the trip so far before leaving?
Oh man, it's probably on your to-do list and you've checked it off like probably at least 5 times today, I would think.
And what kind of things do you think I might have put on my checklist to travel to Denver?
First off, just making sure that the timing is working, making sure that you have all the stuff that you need, making sure that you have double of the stuff that you need in case something gets broken. Making sure that the people who are there know you're coming and when you're going to be there and what to expect from you.
What do you think I'm checking a bag?
Oh yeah, you're probably not checking a bag.
There
it
it
would
is.
Get lost.
All right.
No.
And you think I'm catching a flight a lot earlier than I need to be there?
Way earlier.
Yeah, if I'm having a meeting tomorrow, which I am, I'm leaving today at 12:30.
Yeah.
So this is, but that's the sort of paranoia that makes management possible. So I have literally called. I said, all right, I'm getting on the 12:30 flight. We're meeting tomorrow. I should be in by like 4 o'clock Denver time. Our meeting's tomorrow. If that flight gets delayed and the next one gets delayed and the next one, I'll still be there. I've got backup phone chargers. I have a rule. Everybody going with me. You cannot check a bag. I want to check a bag. Can't check a bag. Why? Because it could get lost. This is real. I'm not I am completely paranoid. And that is the paranoia is what makes the businesses run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I ask my staff every day, guys, elephant in the room. Did you guys get a review? And they say, well, yeah, we got a review. You asked me 10 minutes ago. Okay, well, I'll talk to you in 4 minutes. You heard me say that. I'll say, I'll talk to you in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'll do it. And it's a follow-up because I have to make sure that the checklists are being followed, the reviews are being followed. We're a licensed business. People don't know that. Hair care, you're licensed by the state. So we have certain cleanliness standards. We could have random people from the state show up. So we got checklists. And I follow up, and it doesn't bother me to follow up with the same adult who's in their 40s 6 times within a 50-minute span of time. It doesn't bother me. But most people, that bothers them.
Yeah.
And so have you found that, Jenny, that a lot of people don't like to follow up? Have you found that, or is that just something unique to me?
I've found that they don't like to follow up. No, people don't like to follow up. It's almost like an awkward communication thing that people try to avoid. Yeah. And it's not necessarily that you're being mean or any type of way, but I feel like that's probably the way that we feel when we continuously follow up, like we're having to step on people's toes, but really we're not. We're just getting the job
done. My
mentorship
moment for you is it's probably the same feeling you have when you ask for reviews.
Yeah.
It's probably the same. So, and I'm just saying, and if you, Mike, did you ever play football or a sport of some kind?
Yeah, I used to play soccer.
Okay, soccer. So like when what position did you play?
Goalkeeper.
Goalkeeper. Okay. So this is a great example. I didn't know you were a goalkeeper, but when you're a goalkeeper and someone's kicking that ball at you fast, I mean, just the ball's coming in there. I mean, people can really kick a soccer ball fast. Yeah. There are certain people that want to be a goalkeeper, but they kind of avoid the ball. They try to hide from it. They flinch. You know what I'm talking about? But you actually would lunge into it. Am I correct?
Right.
I mean, you're aggressive, right? I mean, you're like, for some reason you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Right?
I enjoyed getting 100 miles an hour fastball.
Did you ever see somebody who tried to be a goalie? I'm not looking for a name here, but somebody who would kind of hide from the ball?
Yeah.
This is the same thing for management. Like as a manager, you have to want Like you have to sort of seek out conflict, but like people. So I'll say things like, okay, hey, it's 8 o'clock. I need to make sure you put out the flags in front of the elephant in the room store today, Mr. Manager. Put out the flags that draw the attention by the road. Put out the flags. And I'm going to call you in 10 minutes to follow up. Call them in 10 minutes. Are the flags up? Can you send me a picture? They're like, do you not trust me? Absolutely not. I trust nobody. Go ahead and send them. And then I'll call them back 30 minutes later. Hey, did you get Google reviews? Yeah, we got one Google review. You know, the quote is 10. Yeah, I'll call you back in 2 minutes. You know, call them back. Hey, did you get a review? It's been 2 minutes. I know. Oh, hey, I'll tell you what. I'll call you back in an hour. And my whole day is just following up. And then over time, the culture happens where people go, he's going to follow up. And now the people that like the follow-up like to work there, and it's become a great thing. And that's where we're kind of at right now, I think, is we're getting into the follow-up phase. Do you have call recording in place there, Mike? Do you have the call recording for quality assurance installed yet?
Yes, we do.
And are you learning some things?
Yes. It is very hard to train people on recording scripts.
Yeah. Okay, that's something we got to do. Now we're just going through the workflow. And then the wowing the customers. What Sean is saying is that your patients are consistently wowed. Now, I don't know if that's because Sean is your hype man or if that's a real thing, but it seems like people are actually wowing. They're being wowed right now. People, when they come in, this is, if you look at the workflow, they buy something right here. We have to wow them. You've got to create that wow moment. And again, if you want to download this diagram, folks, just go to thrivetimeshow.com/millionaire, thrivetimeshow.com/millionaire. You can download it from my newest book called A Millionaire's Guide to Becoming Sustainably Rich. You got to create that wow moment. I mean, amidst the checklists and the tracking, at some point here, you've got to create a moment that wows people where they go, wow. So I'm trying to get everybody's creative juices flowing here. So if you have a restaurant, I work with a restaurant in Florida right now, a great restaurant. They say, welcome in. Is it your first time? They say, yeah, it's my first time. Oh, well, hey, you get free appetizers on us today and one free adult beverage. Welcome in. And that every time it's that, wow. And then when you come back later and ask for a review or, hey, what entree do you want? Guess what? People become generous with how they buy. Another example, I work with an auto auction. The auto auction says your first time that you buy from the auto auction, you only have to pay $1 more than the actual cost of the vehicle, just to wow people, to get that going. I happen to work with a carpet cleaning business. And what they do is they say, hey, the first time we clean your carpet, we'll beat any competitor's price, and it will be at least half off of our normal price. And they go, okay, great. You got to have that wow moment. What are you guys doing, Jenny, to wow your customers there?
Well, there are things that we do. We will oftentimes like give samples of certain things because we know they work. We have a lot of supplement sales that we do. Again, the dollar consult is a wow moment because we will spend some, 10 to 15 minutes explaining how we're different. And I feel like they're wowed because of that. Also, our services are so much different. We spend time in the room with our patients. We listen to them. They're not just a number. And a lot of times people have never experienced that. So there's a lot of wow moments, I think, for all of our patients.
Now, I understand that 59% of your customers are now from word of mouth. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, well, and with the customer acquisitions cost too, I've heard you say this before, Clay, that if you're advertising and you're doing a good job wowing at the same time, they compound each other, and you'll end up having 2 to 3 word of mouth referrals from those patients that are wowed for every one lead you have from advertising. We measured and tracked that they had this last year, for every $1 they spent on advertising, they were able to bring back in $4.61. So that's a 461% return on their marketing investment.
It's incredible stuff. And the great news is, as we build these systems, if you guys ever wanted to franchise or license or open up multiple locations, if done properly, you should be able to scale it. It should be very repeatable, very duplicatable. Other things you guys have done, you've implemented a database to keep track of your customers. You're gathering objective video reviews. You guys are really checking all the boxes. I'd like for you, if you can, Jenny, here, to give a word of encouragement for any of our listeners out there that are a little bit on the fence right now, and they're going, I have thought about scheduling a free consultation, but I don't know. I hear it's $1,700 a month, and can you maybe explain your thoughts, what you would say to anybody who's a friend of yours or family that asks you about the value about the business consulting?
Oh, well, I would say that the $1,700 a month is an excuse not to have someone to mentor you. It's kind of like being in a gym when you need a trainer. We're not always perfect, and business owning is not easy, and you need a mentor. I've never missed the $1,700 a month, even when I was only 6 months in when we started With you guys, I've never even considered it a loss. It was scary at first to make that, but that wasn't an excuse. I knew I needed someone to guide me through this, and you guys have guided us through this, through the entire thing, through employees, through income, through spending, through all of it. And we come through so many problems. There are a lot of problems that are established when you have a business. I mean, you become very overwhelmed very fast, and you need somebody that you can call who's successful, who's been there, that says, you're not crazy. This happens to all of us. Here's what you do about it. It's been the best decision that we've made.
Final question I have here for you, as far as having like a one-stop shop. Years ago, I hired a business consultant who was great. And he would say things like, and I'm not ripping him, I'm just telling you what would happen. He would say, Clay, you got to work on your business and not in it. I'm going, that's true. He goes, you got to delegate to elevate. That's true. Clay, your website is not optimized. And I'm going, this is great. Fresh perspective. I go, Bruce, could you help me optimize? No, I don't optimize. Could you help me work on it? No. Could you help me make a checklist? No. Do you help me with the print pieces that I need to make? No. Can you make a video? No. Do you help me with my online ads? No. Clay, and he was kind of he's an Northeastern American guy. And he used to say, Clay, baby, let me tell you what. I don't make print pieces. What am I, a print piece guy? I'm not a web guy. We know what I am. I'm a work on the business guy. You got to find a good web guy. So every meeting we would have would result in me having to find another vendor to pay another $8,000 to build the website, $4,000 to make the video, $5,000 to do. So every time he would give a recommendation, it would lead to another cost. Can you maybe explain the value of having a flat monthly fee?
Yeah, I don't have to ever worry about it. Like, I know if I need the website updated, it's a text away. I know if I'm having trouble with an employee, it's a text away. I know if I need financial advice, it's a text away. And again, we meet every single week, and all our questions are answered, and we're held accountable to what we need to be held accountable for. So it really works for us.
Jenny and Mike, thank you guys for your time so much. I really do value your time. I appreciate you guys being here today. And on part 2 of today's show, we're going to tee up another success story, because we want people to know it is possible, despite the financial jackassery plaguing our nation right now. It is possible to become successful, and you guys are a living example of it. Thank you guys for bringing your baby on the show. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Thank you.
Hey, this is Dr. Jay Schroeder from HealthWorks Chiropractic here in Franklin, just outside of Nashville, and just wanted to record kind of my experience with Thrive over the last 16 months. I think it's been almost 18 months with these guys. They have really helped me turn my clinics around. I came to Thrive in February 17. I could say 16 months later, I don't know where we've been without these guys, but I know where we're at now. We've got systems in place that make the practices no longer reliant on me being there for them to be successful. That was a huge goal of mine when I first talked to them. We're working towards our financial goals. We'll be there probably within 6 months. And my stress level has gone down. I'll be going on vacation next week, not worrying a bit about what's happening with my 2 practices, because I know the systems that we put in place is going to make them run as if I was there. So I don't know what else to say, but thank you guys. I look forward to my weekly coaching calls, and it's always something that I get out of those that I can plug in or talk to an employee. And it's just the 2%. You know, they talk about 2% all the time. You got to improve by 2%. You can't do it all at once. But that 2% over the last 16 to 18 months has made a huge difference for my life, my family, our practices, and again, just the stress level that we were at compared to now has been life-changing. So thanks, guys. Really appreciate all you do, and look forward to the next 16 to 18 months and beyond. Thanks. Hey, I just wanted to take a minute to talk about Thrive 15 and what they've done for me. My experience with them started with a weekend seminar. I was just kind of feeling stuck and just needed something to light my creative juices, and a friend of mine recommended I go check them out, and I did, and certainly nothing short of amazing that weekend seminar as far as what it did for me. But based on that, I wanted to learn more about what they could do to help me, and there's no doubt without their help, I don't know if I would have got where I want to go, and even to the point where I am now. If you are someone who's looking to start a business, or expand your current business, I highly recommend you give these guys a look, as they will at least give you an idea of what it's going to take to get you from where you are now to where you want to go in the future. I'm a guy with big vision, and I just didn't quite know how to get from point A to point B, and they're certainly helping me get to that point down the road. If you look at this board behind you, this is all stuff that they've made me think about, if you will. So yeah, give them a look. I think it'll be well worth your time.
Well, the first time that I ever met you, Clay, was at that first conference in Tulsa, and that was an incredible conference. And I was so impressed with just the whole thing, just the professionalism, you as a person, your business, your work ethic, and really just who you are. And I was very impressed with all of that. And I thought, gosh, this might be someone that I would really consider working with. Like maybe he could really help me. And that's really what got me interested, because I was so impressed with just the professionalism of all of it. And I learned a lot. I come about once a year to a business conference, and I'd like to come more, but every year I try to come with my marketing girl with me. And we always learn something. And I think next year I'm going to bring my husband because he really needs to come too.
Okay, Thrive Nation, on today's show, I wanted to share with you a story about a good person who's growing a good business by treating their customers the way they want to be treated. She's a longtime client. We're honored to serve her and help her grow her business. And I want you to hear a great success story. So that being said, Dr. Stephanie, welcome on to the Thrivetime show. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thank you so much, Clay.
Well, first off, I'm going to pull up your website. So tell all the listeners, what's the name of your website so we can verify that you are, in fact, a real orthodontist?
Okay, my website is smileshollywood.com.
Okay, smileshollywood.com.
Yes.
I'm going to pull this up real quick here. And as I pull this up, I'm going to ask you a little bit about your background, because you're doing really well. You're based in McKinney, Texas. When did you have that vision to become an orthodontist? Like, what age were you where you thought, you know what, I want to become an orthodontist?
Well, that had to have been when I was visiting my own orthodontist. Dr. Jim Boley, who's retired now, but was an awesome, great orthodontist and one of the greats, really. But what's funny is that I actually wanted to be a medical doctor first. And I used to go into his office and he'd say, Stephanie, you don't want to be a medical doctor. You want to be an orthodontist. And I said, no, I don't, Dr. Boley. Why are you saying that? And he started telling me all of the great things about dentistry and why it's so great, because you don't have to deal with people dying on you. You don't have to deal with sick people. You get to make people look amazing and beautiful by straightening their teeth, and you leave with happy patients. And he talked me into it, and I thought, that sounds like a great job. So that's really how I became an orthodontist.
And you're in McKinney, Texas, right? So how long have you been an orthodontist in McKinney, Texas?
So I've been an orthodontist for 26 years, practicing in McKinney.
Years. And when you went to medical school, what percentage of the time in medical school or dental school, did they spend teaching you how to market and or grow your own practice?
Absolutely zero marketing skills.
Okay. And so one of the great things that I love about working with you is, we get to help you grow your business, but you get to be more of who you are. I mean, you get to help more patients and help more people create great smiles, and then we get to do some of the nitty gritty stuff that maybe isn't your highest and best use. And so I wanted to focus on some of the things we've been able to accomplish together over these few years here. First off, from a branding perspective, I really do feel like your website is first class. And from when I talk to Andrew, you're the coach who works with you, I'm always hearing that more and more patients are coming in from Google. Could you talk about that? How much of an impact does it have having maybe a rebranded or updated website and Google leads coming in?
It has had a huge difference, absolutely huge difference in our patient load coming in. And, before I really wasn't tracking really well. And that's one of the things I learned from Thrivetime Business was how to track patients coming in, how to really, how to see where they're coming from. And at the time, I really didn't know much about Google. And, being an orthodontist for 26 years, I didn't really know a lot I kind of went through a time where I went through shock. It was really what I call culture shock, because the old ways of marketing were not working anymore. And because I really didn't know about online marketing, I was still doing, phone book ads and magazine ads and all of these things. And so Thrivetime has really helped. I started out with 97 reviews. Now we have almost 600 reviews. And, it takes a long time to get those reviews, and you have to really work diligently. And, Andrew was amazing. My coach, he's fantastic. Really, really had to prod me sometimes, because, sometimes I was like an old mule and just stuck my feet in and said, no, I don't want to do that. And he said, trust me, it works. And I just kept going, and he kept pushing. And I tell you what, it's really working. We're getting a lot of patients from Google, and it's fantastic.
Now, as far as gathering patients from the Google search results, there's a couple of things that have to happen. I mean, one, you've got to have the most content. There's 4 variables. One, you have to have the most original HTML content or text. Second, you have to have the most objective reviews from real customers. Third, your website has to be in constant mobile compliance, where we're updating the website to meet the current updated guidelines of the ever-evolving internet. And then we've got to make sure your website is canonically compliant, where it basically follows all Google's rules. How much has that helped your peace of mind, knowing that you have a team that's helping you update your website every month and that you don't have to do that?
It is a huge relief, an absolute huge relief, because I know that these things are being done. The SEO is being done properly. The backwriting under the website is being done properly, and increasing, and we're relevant every single day. We're relevant because I know these things are happening. And before, I actually was trying to do some of these things on my own. And, I'm not the best writer. And then I realized, why am I doing this myself? Because honestly, I don't have the time. And so it's really a great relief to know that these things are being done and that they're working. And I saw, when I first started with Thrivetime, I was probably 11 or 12. I was working with an SEO company at the time, and I was probably coming up 11 or 12, which is really the second page when somebody brings you up on the computer. But now I'm at 2, I'm at 3, I'm at 4, depending on the keywords. So I couldn't be more happy.
And, again, if we do a search for orthodontist in McKinney, Texas, we can find you right there in the top 3. Also, after you move past the 3-pack or the top 3 there, we can also find your site in the search results. And again, it's not a result of luck. It's not a result of some sort of woo-woo plan. It's specific, actionable processes. The next thing I want to talk about is just overall lead tracking and Dream 100 marketing. I think a lot of times people...
Okay.
Not you, but other people, entrepreneurs, none of our listeners, we might market based on feel. So if we feel like we're not getting enough leads, we might feel the need to go market. And if we feel like we're overwhelmed with leads, we might feel the need to not market. But one of the things that we try to teach to our wonderful clients like yourself is the importance of implementing a consistent and implementable plan, a consistent and practical plan. Could you talk about the importance of tracking your leads and then also just consistently doing those marketing systems like the Dream 100 that do produce fruit?
So the Dream 100 has really been a great addition. We were doing something similar to that, but really not with the concerted effort and doing it on a regular basis. We were kind of doing it a little more haphazardly. And I really have noticed a difference, because when you are visiting dentist's office and you're developing a relationship with them, and they are seeing you on a regular basis every week or every 2 weeks, the staff starts to remember you. And so, you never know, a patient may come in tomorrow and you just drop by their office with a goodie today, and then they are going to think of you whenever it's time to refer for an orthodontist. And that's really made a big change in our practice too. And we track every single one of those. So we know how many Dr. X sent over, and we know how many Dr. Y sent over. So we know our top referrers, and we know the ones that we need to kind of get to know better and help them send to us too.
There's somebody watching this right now who's a doctor, a dentist, a lawyer, and they're going, I don't know if the Dream 100 works. What do you say to that person who's sitting down with you right now and they go, I just don't know if that works?
I say it definitely works. And you definitely do have to get out and meet the dentist yourself. At least one time, even if you some of the dentists I couldn't actually just go meet. to have lunch. They didn't have lunches. So I just actually went by the office myself. I took a little goodie with me, a muffin or something, and I'd go by maybe right before lunch and just introduce myself. And then when my gal would come by every week or every other week to deliver things to their office, they at least knew who I was. I had introduced myself, and we found that we started getting patients that way. So it definitely helps.
Now, next thing I want to talk about is hiring. And I don't know if you've ever felt like this. I'm sure you haven't. It's probably just me. But whenever you have a garden that you plant, I'll pull up a picture of a garden so we can all picture it in our minds. Whenever you plant a garden, there's probably some initial excitement. You go, you know what? I'm going to plant these tomatoes. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get after it. This is my year. I'm going to get the garden going. I'm excited. I'm going organic. Let's go. Well, what happens is over time, people stop pulling the weeds, they stop tending to the garden, and over time, the garden becomes like an overgrown monster garden. The garden starts to become something that looks like a mistake, something that looks like something where your neighbors say, "Are you going to mow that thing?" And it gets bad. And the same thing is true with employees. If you have a team of people that work for you on your payroll and you're a business owner, it turns out that the average American today, for whatever reason, and I'm going to pull up some stats here so people don't think I'm crazy. The U.S. Chamber reports that 75% of employees steal from the workplace. What? That's the U.S. Chamber reporting that 75% of employees steal from the workplace. And you might say, really? Yeah. And 85% of employees lie on resumes, meaning that they just make up some statistic on and they throw it on their resumes. And 85% of employees are lying on their resumes. I'm pulling this up here, folks. But there's a certain group of employees that they just lie on the resumes, called 85% of job applicants lie on the resumes. And 75% of employees steal from the workplace. So in your business, you have a great staff and you want to keep it that way. So you can't hire the thieves. You can't hire people that lie on their resumes. So that 85% of the population that lies on the resumes, they can't work for you. And that 75% of the population that steals from the workplace, they can't work for you either because you want to wow your customers. Can you talk about embracing the processes that we teach of the ongoing hiring processes and just always recruiting new people?
Absolutely. So we have taken on really the task of making sure that we have every single day at any one time, there is going to be an ad out there for any position in our office. And, occasionally we'll have somebody come in and we'll have them, just do a little half a day or something. And what's really interesting is that even my employees, even when I'm not needing someone, my employees will be like, why are we having somebody come in, do a working interview, and everybody gets really nervous, but it actually also helps them get on their best behavior again. So, but it's like, if you always have someone waiting in the wings, then should you have someone that drops off, maybe their husband gets transferred and they're a wonderful employee, but it's just, now they have to move and now you've got someone that you can hire. Or if you have someone that's like what happened in my office where, it was a inventory day and doctors weren't there and she decided to go work out and hang out with her boyfriend for 5 hours and then forgot to clock out, so that's called stealing.
Yeah. And recently, and these are just real examples I'm sharing with people. I've had some of my really, really nice employees. Two of them decided to have a baby and start a family. And so I'm not going to hold an employee hostage. I'm not mad that they decided to move on, but you get to a place where if you're not careful, folks, you're going to find yourself in a kind of a defensive posture where you're not going to be able to cover the appointments, the obligations, the customers that are reaching out to you. So if you're out there today, hiring has got to be a process and not an event. So again, just recapping: the branding, the marketing, the search engine optimization, the hiring, the tracking. I want to talk about retargeting ads. Retargeting ads, whenever somebody goes to your website, we've got to have ads that follow people around the internet. So that way people constantly see Smiles Hollywood, Smiles Hollywood, Smiles Hollywood.
Yes.
And that creates top of mind awareness. Can you talk about how important it is for you to know that you have a team of people thinking about those kind of things? So again, you don't have to.
Absolutely. And I think just being a Thrivetime customer really makes you feel like you're taken care of in so many different areas, because I didn't even know what those ads were when I first became a client. I didn't even know. I remember thinking, I wonder how you get to have an ad when you're going to your bank account, and then all of a sudden this thing pops up, for some brand of sunglasses that you were just looking at. I thought, how do you get those ads? How do you even find out about them? And so these are the ads that you guys fixed us up with, and they're fantastic. And I do know that they do bring in patients.
Now, coaching is an ongoing process. Every week, Andrew meets with you. Every week, I know this might sound shocking for folks out there, but every single morning, our coaches have to meet with me at 6 a.m. And I ask them every morning, I say, how's your client doing? And I go over all 160 clients. It's a real thing. I go over 40 clients every single day. I go over the checklist of all 40 clients every day. And we do that you do every single morning. So every week we review the files of all 160 clients to make sure you guys are thriving, you're growing, you're not backsliding, everyone's doing well. Could you talk about the importance of having somebody who A, helps you track, but also kind of pushes you to be your best?
Well, that has been a lifesaver because honestly, I kind of learned it on myself because Andrew was good about pushing me, and he would say, okay, well, did you meet with your staff about this or that? And I said, oh yeah, I didn't quite do that. And so he was really good about reminding me that I needed to meet with my staff once a week or once a day, whatever it was, depending on the item. But I found, like, for instance, with my front desk girl, she was fantastic, but she was supposed to be following up on leads. She was supposed to have a lead list. And so every week I would call her and say, hey, how's that lead list? And I would actually have Andrew on the phone with me, and we would talk, and she kind of would say, oh yeah, they're good. And, and then finally, I think she got it. She realized I need a list. And so I think she realized Dr. Kreis is going to ask me every week, and I better get organized here. And so she actually came up with her own lead list in her own little system, which was fantastic, by the way, and has helped us tremendously at the front desk. And anytime we go over the lead list, because I have about 3 employees that have lead lists, different kinds of lead lists, and she is fantastic. I never have to worry about her lead list. The other 2, I have to check theirs. And that's the thing, is I think you start to really hold your employees accountable, and Andrew helps hold me accountable and make sure that I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing, because let's face it, life gets busy, and I mean, I'm a mom and I'm a wife and I have all kinds of other things going on too. And so I want to have a thriving business, but you have to put the work into your business. And it's nice to have someone there prodding me along when I get lazy.
Now, you're one of these wonderful folks where, most of our clients, they actually come to the workshops. They also do coaching. And so you're somebody who's been to the conferences. You do the weekly coaching. You've seen the whole experience. I guess, some people describe our coaching system as life-changing, or they focus on the numbers. How would you describe how the one-on-one coaching in conjunction with the conference has impacted maybe you and or your business?
Well, the first time that I ever met you, Clay, was at that first conference in Tulsa. And that was an incredible conference. And I was so impressed with just the whole thing, just the professionalism, you as a person, your business, your work ethic, and really just who you are. And I was very impressed with all of that. And I thought, gosh, this might be someone that I would really consider working with. Like, maybe he could really help me. And that's really what got me interested, because I was so impressed with just the professionalism of all of it. And I learned a lot. I come about once a year to a business conference, and I'd like to come more, but every year I try to come with my marketing girl with me. And we always learn something. And I think next year I'm going to bring my husband because he really needs to come too. And he's been going along with this with me, and he's thinking, wow, this is really working for you. Maybe I need to come. So we've loved it.
So if somebody's watching right now, they're on the website, they go to thrivetimeshow.com, they're thinking about scheduling a free consultation, or they're thinking about coming to a workshop, what do you say to somebody out there that's on the fence, thinking about coming to a conference and or scheduling a free 13-point assessment?
Well, I say absolutely do it. Absolutely do it. And I will say that it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight, but if you stay the course, you're going to see results.
Honestly, when we first met, we were running out of hope. It was getting tough. And I didn't see a way to have a funnel of customers coming in. Now we're trying to figure out what we're going to do with all the customers. And our problems in life are now, how do we deal with all the blessings, which is, well, from an emotional point of view, it's just, it's hard to even explain how things have changed in the last couple of years.
And quantifiably, did you say you're up 15 times more leads? Is that a safe number?
Easily, yes.
I'd say at least.
Yes.
If you had to put a number on, Joe, what's the number of increased lead number? Because again, we got people watching this show. They're like, well, what's the ROI going to be? How would you describe the increase in the number of leads?
The phone rings more.
Greg, how would you describe it in terms of you had to quantify the increase in the number of leads?
1,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
15,000. It's we started out having 1 to 2 a week, and now we have, typically these days, 3, 4, 5 a day, maybe some days even more.
I'm just making sure you get this. If you were going to have, I'm not trying to paint you in a corner, but if you had 1 to 2 a week, let's say you used to have like 8 a month, and now you're getting, I mean, the impact that can make on someone's business, folks, I'm just telling you, just everyone, I encourage you to marinate on that. Everybody out there can do this. How would you describe the return on investment for the $1,700 a month you pay versus the results that you're getting?
You're almost waiting for the punchline at the end. When you say, I hired a guy at $1,700 a month to build my website and turn my business from 0 to millions for $1,700 a month, and you stop talking, I think they're waiting for the punchline. There isn't one. That is the bargain of the century. I mean, I paid that much money to a guy just to write SEO, as he said, before I met you, and the phone never rang. No one ever called. So paid a lot of money for it, but we didn't get anything out of it. So we certainly do here.
So that way, you got to put time into it. I mean, just like anything that you work at, well, whatever it is, you got to put time into it. You can't just expect to put in an hour and, oh, look, I'm a multimillionaire by putting in an hour a week. And it just doesn't work.
Now that we have so many calls coming in, now we're having to refine and whittle our system down as best we can in order to get customers serviced quickly and properly. I don't know that I understood for the first almost year that it is so ridiculously simple what you have to do. Now, I'm not saying in the business, but this portion of getting yourself seen and getting that phone to ring is so simple. Follow the steps you just said, VISM, that's it.
What do you say, Greg, for anybody out there that's going, man, it's just, I don't know if that'll work for me. What do you say, Greg?
I say that I am a very skilled carpenter, and I know somebody that's very skilled in making those things happen online. And that would be you, of course. I think in the beginning, I had no particular concept. I knew what a website was until working with you guys, of course, that there is this sort of machine that you build. Like I like to say, I'm great at driving a car. You're great at building it so I can drive it, that kind of thing. It's so important that you understand that you can't drive a car without gas. You can't drive it without tires. You can't drive it without an engine. So you have to have all the pieces together in order to make it work correctly. And that's what your team does, is what it is that Google wants. And you just point us in the right direction, and we do the homework.
How would you describe the kind of impact it's made on your business?
Clarity, being able to be more organized. Still a work in progress, finding all the little things that you're like, I didn't know I needed to organize this right here, needed to be organized. I got to organize it, have a system, have a checklist, have the schedule, all this for all these things that you learn as you go. Just the organization and learning that is one thing that I'm learning.
Well, Thrive Nation, on today's show, we have quite a success story here. This is a father-son combo where these guys are really growing their business. They're dramatically increasing the number of leads they're getting. They're real people. And someone always says, are these people real? Are they holograms? Are they male models? No. The company, it's a real company. It's called Tulsa Wood Floors and More. Tulsa Wood Floors and More. Everybody check it out. Tulsa Wood Floors and More. With that being said, Greg and Joe, welcome onto the Thrivetime Show. How are you?
Thanks, Clay. Good to see you.
Okay, so I got to ask you real quick, Greg, what's your first and last name, and what's the name of your company, sir?
Greg Parks, Tulsa Wood Floors and More.
And Joe, could you tell us your first and last name and your web address so people can verify that you're not a hologram?
I think I'm not a hologram, but my name is Joe Parks, and the website is www.tulsawoodfloorsandmore.com.
Now, we've had the opportunity to work with you guys now for, we'll call it a couple years, and you guys have had a tremendous increase in the number of leads that you're getting offline. Greg, if you had to compare where you were at a couple years ago in terms of leads to where you're at now, how would you describe the amount of leads you're getting now versus where you were a couple years back?
Well, it's like a flood right now. It's a lot, and of course, I would say 1 to 2 a week a couple years ago, and now 20 times that, 10 times that. Certainly, it's
right
a lot.
Before the meeting, we just had one call in right before the meeting.
We're handling one call right now.
Now, Joe, would you say that your amount of leads you're getting off the internet between all the things we're working on, is it maybe 20 times more that used to be, 10 times more if you think about the number of leads?
At least 15 times more.
Yeah. And so what I'll tell for anybody out there, I'm going to pull up this thing called a workflow. I'm going to pull up the workflow. If you don't have leads, your business just cannot succeed. It's just not going to happen. It can't work. If you don't have leads, it's not going to, you can't grow your business. And we're going to get into all 14 parts of the business. And Greg, I really want to tap into your wisdom on this. You've learned a lot of this. You're doing it real time. So first off, you got to know your revenue goals. I'm not asking you to share your revenue goals with our listeners, but why is it important for you to, step one, know your revenue goals, and step two, to know your break-even point? Why do you have to know your revenue goals and your break-even point there, Greg?
Well, I mean, obviously, you have to know what the goals are. You have to set those goals ahead of time in your own life, wherever you want to end up. And then you obviously need to know how much money you're making per job, so you can tell how many jobs you need to complete in a certain period of time to reach that goal.
Now, box number 3, again, all these steps, we have to do all these steps. Box number 3 is the number of hours you're willing to work. I want to pick on your son for this one. Joe is a very skilled, what I call him a trim carpenter or skilled contractor. Your son really is skilled at the skills he brings to the table are really next level. But after the skill, there has to be a work ethic that follows that. And I would say your son's one of the hardest working people that I know. Joe, I want to get your thoughts on this, because I think a lot of people want to become multimillionaires or super successful, but they're unwilling to put in the work. Why is it important for you and your dad and your whole family to figure out how many hours per week that you're willing to work?
So that way, you got to put time into it. I mean, just like anything that you work at, well, whatever it is, you got to put time into it. You can't just expect to put in an hour and, oh, look, I'm a multimillionaire by putting in an hour a week. And it just doesn't work.
Now, box number 4, Greg, back to you. You have to figure out your unique value proposition. Now, this is kind of exciting stuff. Every week, every week we get on the phone and I say, listen, guys, this week and every week, we need to put fuel into our business vehicle. And the fuel we need to put into the business vehicle is a 3-legged marketing stool. So I'll demystify those legs for any of the listeners out there. Leg number 1, you got to appear or be present at a certain number of trade shows to get in front of your ideal and likely buyers. Leg number 2, you got to wow that customer so you get word of mouth. You got to wow the customer and so you get word of mouth, which you guys do. And then that 3rd leg is you got to be top in the search engine results. And so if I go to Google right now and I type in wood floors Tulsa, I type in wood floors Tulsa because I'm a sick freak, and I put in wood floors, then Tulsa. You come up top. There you are, Tulsa Wood Floors and More. Then you come up again, and that's if I type in wood floors Tulsa. Now, somebody else is probably more educated than myself. They type in Tulsa Wood Floors, Tulsa Wood Floors. You come up top again, Tulsa Wood Floors. You come up again, Tulsa Wood Floors again. 3 of the first 10, Tulsa Wood Floors. You might type in wood flooring contractor for gymnasiums, right? So you type that in. You type that into Google, and after the ads, here we go. You come up again. You come up top or near the top, and you say, well, AI, what does AI do? Well, AI is now recommending you. So many clients ask me, what about AI? What about AI? AI now says that you guys are it says top wood flooring contractors for gymnasiums in Tulsa and the surrounding region include Tri-State, Z-Floor, and Tulsa Wood Floors and more. This is AI recommends you now. I mean, you couldn't be more recommended, but what makes it work is you guys are doing VISMD. Let's get through it. VISMD. What does that mean? V, video reviews. You guys are gathering video examples, video testimonials. I, images of your work. S, search engine content. M, more Google reviews. And D, we do a diagnostic on your website every month to make sure your site is optimized. Let's look at it one more time. V, videos. Where can I find videos? I go to Tulsa Wood Floors and More. I click on testimonials. Boom, videos. I, images. Where can I find it? I go to your gallery. I find those images. S, search engine content. How can I prove it's real? I go to the sitemap at the bottom of the website. There it is. Tons of articles. And VISM, more Google reviews. I type in Tulsa Wood Flooring, Tulsa Wood Flooring. I type it in. I spell it right. That'll help. There you go. You come up top again. Now what's happening is you now are the authority. For anybody who doesn't know, once you have the most reviews, and Greg, this just happened this morning, you became what's called the authority listing. So now when I type in Tulsa Wood Flooring, you actually are recommended as the largest. Look at this. Your map comes up top, then the website again. You now have the authority placement. What do you say, Greg, for anybody out there that's going, man, it's just, I don't know if that'll work for me. What do you say, Greg?
I say that I am a very skilled carpenter, and I know somebody that's very skilled in making those things happen online. And that would be you, of course.
Now let's talk about this though, because Greg, every week you have to get video clips, and you're doing
we do it every week.
Every week.
Reviews.
Yep.
And for those out there that may not know, there's not one meeting that I see Clay, and that's quite frequently, that the words don't come out of his mouth. How many reviews did you get this week? Because it's just really, it's hugely important to get people's opinions of the work that you do. Yep. That's how people find you, and that's how people make a decision once they found you on whether or not to give you a call.
Now, Joe, VISMD, if you guys were getting Google reviews but not getting video clips and images and more content, and the monthly diagnostic wasn't being done, AI would not be recommending you. It's all of those things. VISM. Could you talk about that for a second, of just maybe the maddening simplicity of knowing that every week, no matter what, you got to get video clips, you got to get images, you got to get search engine content, you got to get more Google reviews, and every month we have to update the website for the diagnostic compliance. Just talk about the simplicity of that system.
It's so simple, it's maddening. You take your phone and you push the camera app and you take pictures, and then you switch to video and you film, so people know that you actually do work, that you aren't robots.
And that's all really Google's looking for. Yeah. I mean, that's it. That makes you the authority. You just have to do that little bit of homework every single time.
Now, Natalie, I'm going to add you to the mic here. Natalie is, you guys know Natalie, she's off the camera, but on mic. Natalie, you work with some great clients, many of which have to do this same process. We work with online retailers, doctors, dentists, lawyers, people that sell products. And I would say half of our clients at least have to go through this process. What question would you have on behalf of maybe your clients or on behalf of anybody out there that maybe would struggle to be as diligent and consistent as Joe and Greg are at implementing these systems?
Yeah. I think one thing that most of my clients have a question about is when and how does it look like when you block off time on your calendar to go work on your business?
Well, that or you want me?
Let's go with Greg first.
We do block out time for trade shows, and we try to do at least 2 a month. If we can do 2 a month, that's what we try to schedule. Depends on the venues in our area. And then every day, I would say it's sort of mixed in like a chocolate chip cookie for us. You just dump the chips in. You have to remind yourself every minute of every day, I need to take pictures before I start this job. I need to take a video before I start this job. You're working on the business while you're working in it. So we sort of mix it together.
Joe, anything you want to add to that? Because again, I'm talking to doctors, dentists, lawyers, photographers, wedding photographers, event photographers, videographers. I'm talking to lawyers. I mean, we're talking to cosmetic dentists. We're working with home remodelers, East Coast, West Coast, small town, big town, all having massive growth if they follow the system. What do you say to somebody out there that's maybe struggling to get video clips or images or to gather reviews?
write it down on a checklist. Make yourself a list that when you first walk into the job, put it on the checklist. We have it on our paper. It's in big, bold, bright red letters that say get before photos, get videos, get pictures. It's written down so that way we don't forget, because if you don't write it down, you're going to forget.
It's simple. It's powerful. We're going back to our stack of stuff here. Again, all of these systems, we teach these at our in-person workshops. We're going to box number 4. You have to know your unique value proposition, okay? And you have to have great branding, box number 5. Greg, if you were not coming up top or near the top in the search results and you didn't have a website that looked professional, none of this stuff would work, you know? And so you can't say it's either or. You can't say, well, what's the most important thing to growing my company? It's all of these things. I see clients all the time that are top in the Google search results, but their website looks hideous. Or I see people that have a beautiful site that no one gets to. You have to do all of it. Can you talk about the importance of becoming the highest rated and most reviewed and having a beautiful website?
Well, what you just said is absolutely true. I think in the beginning, I had no particular concept. I knew what a website was until working with you guys, of course, that there is this sort of machine that you build. Like I like to say, you know, I'm great at driving a car. You're great at building it so I can drive it, that kind of thing. It's so important that you understand that you can't drive a car without gas. You can't drive it without tires. You can't drive it without an engine. So you have to have all the pieces together in order to make it work correctly. And that's what your team does, is you know what it is that Google wants, and you just point us in the right direction, and we do the homework.
And you're doing it. And I want to encourage somebody out there that they can do it. I think, Natalie, sometimes people think, man, wow, Greg, I met him at the conference. This guy's doing great. I mean, he's doing now so many sales. I could never do that. And I remember, Greg, the first time I met you, the first time you came to a conference, it can feel that way when you're looking around the room and you're surrounded by client success stories like Aaron Antis, who we've helped him grow from 14 million to 151 million. Or you're in the room with Steve Currington, one of the top mortgage providers, and there he is. And you're in the room with a podcast host with 1 million listeners a week, John Lee Dumas, EO Fire, or in the room with Eric Trump, President Trump's son, or whoever. Now, box number 6 is you got to have all 3 legs of your marketing stool working. Let's recap the moves here for your 3-legged marketing stool. You have to wow the customers, Joe. You got to wow the customers. You got to do it. 2, you got to participate in trade shows, Joe. And then 3, you've got to get your search engine optimization going. You got to get the videos, the images, the search engine, the more Google reviews, the Dream 100. If you stopped wowing your customers, if you stopped going to trade shows, if you stopped doing the search engine optimization, all of these things have to work together. Joe, what do you say to someone who says, I just want to skip a part. I'm in a small town. You know how it is in a small town. I grew up in a small town, by the way, Joe. I grew up in a very small town. So for the people out there who grew up in a crazy small town, by the way, I'd say half of our clients are in very small towns. They go, Google, people don't use it in small towns. Small towns, it's different. Or somebody says, I'm in a big town. I'm in such a big town. By the way, half of our clients are in big towns. I'm in a big town. Big shout out to James D. Cristofaro. James D. Cristofaro, one of our clients who's in New York, who now dominates the search engine results as an attorney. What do you say, Joe, to someone who says, I don't know about the 3-legged marketing stool. I'd rather spend my day making reels and TikTok videos.
Not the TikTok videos. I guess that's one way of advertising is TikTok, but let me know how that works out. Your stool gets really lopsided when you have, one leg. It's kind of difficult to sit there and balance on just one leg. You have to have all 3. It's really nice and stable. Just help people find you, and that's how Google sees things too.
Greg, what do you say to somebody? Because again, I'm not mentioning names. I'm just going to mention the concept. Greg, you've been to conferences where we've seen people that have literally 1 million views on their Instagram videos. We've seen people, I'm not mentioning names. I kind of want to, but I won't. But Greg, you and I know people that are going viral on Instagram. They're going viral on TikTok. They're going viral on YouTube. They're showing up on ESPN and various other platforms with no leads and no money to pay their bills. What do you say to Greg for someone who says, the maddening simplicity of doing all these systems and getting them all working together, I'd rather go chase a TikTok video. What do you say?
I say, you do you, but I can tell you this. When I started, I'm not sure if I knew I'm very pliable. I think in my way of thinking, I'm easy. I saw the success you had and the people that you showed success, and I just wanted to follow that. I don't want to lead through the minefield. I want to follow the path of whoever's footsteps went through. And so, if you said you got to jump up and down on one leg and whatever, I would do that. But I don't know that I understood for the first almost year that it is so ridiculously simple what you have to do. Now, I'm not saying in the business, but this portion of getting yourself seen and getting that phone to ring is so simple. Follow the steps you just said, VISM, that's it. So it's really all we ever talk about.
What do you say though to somebody who says, I don't want to put the car in the gas, but I want the car to move. I kind of don't want to get reviews, and I kind of don't want to get video clips, and I kind of don't want to get images, but I still want it to work. What do you say?
I would say you're probably a really cool person, but hopefully you don't like money.
As long as you like being at the bottom of everything, right? Great. You're doing
and if that's your goal is to be like on the bottom, then that would be the way to do it. I think.
All right. Well, we're moving on to box number 7. You got to have sales scripts. And by the way, for sake of time today, we don't have time to get into all these details, but you have to have a sales script, a sales system, an ultimate sales machine. You got to have sales scripts. And Greg, when you meet with people, you have to have sales materials that make sense. You have to have a gallery so clients can go to the website and click on the gallery at Tulsa Wood Floors and more, and they can click around and see examples of the great work you provide. You guys are doing so well now. You're moving into where you're doing gyms. I mean, we're talking massive. I mean, look at the size of these wood floors here. This is a huge project. But Greg, again, no matter how many leads you get, you ultimately have to meet the customer. You got to build rapport with them and establish trust and explain to them how you can solve their problems. Then you ultimately have to sell them something. So you have to have a script. You have to have a plan. You have to have a system. Can you talk about that for a second? Because I think it's very busy it's very easy as an entrepreneur to say, I'm so busy, I don't have time to follow a process. What would you say as you're refining your sales processes now, as you're having so many leads, now the need to finalize, now you're now in a place where you have so many leads coming in that the processes are becoming more and more important. What do you say to our listeners out there?
We certainly did struggle in the beginning to have a system. I think that was my biggest roadblock was what's the system? I see all these pieces floating around in the air, but I don't know how to line them up and make it work. And it's getting better now that we've done it, many, many times over. But customer service, in my opinion, customer calls and says there's a problem. You don't ask, you say, how do we fix it? We'll be there and we'll take care of it. And that literal thing happened last night. So we are taking care of that customer right now. They had an issue happen. Customer service and wowing your customers top of the line. And, having a system, now that we have so many calls coming in, now we're having to refine and whittle our system down as best we can in order to get customers serviced quickly and properly. So.
Greg, you and your son, I love working with you guys. I consider you to be kind of part of the family at this point. I mean, it's been great helping you guys. And Joe, you've seen it. I mean, you've been a part of the ride. And if you were going to explain the before and after, obviously we're not done, but the before and after from the time we first met you to now, how would you describe the kind of impact it's made on your business?
Clarity, being able to be more organized. Still a work in progress, finding all the little things that you're like, I didn't know I needed to organize this right here, needed to be organized. I got to organize it, have a system, have a checklist, have the schedule, all this for all these things that you learn as you go. Just the organization and learning that is one thing that I'm learning.
Greg, how would you describe the impact? Because, Natalie works with great people that are maybe starting the journey or maybe 6 months into the journey or a year into the journey. You've been doing this for a couple of years. How would you describe the before and after impact that's made so far?
Well, we honestly, I have no issue working in my life. I never thought I could work harder until I met you and the crew. And now for somehow we've figured out how to organize and work even more than we did before. But honestly, when we first met, we were running out of hope. It was getting tough, and I didn't see a way to have a funnel of customers coming in. Now we're trying to figure out what we're going to do with all the customers, and our problems in life are now, how do we deal with all the blessings, which is, well, from an emotional point of view, it's hard to even explain how things have changed in the last couple of years.
And quantifiably, did you say you're up 15 times more leads? Is that a safe number?
Easily.
Yeah, I'd say at least.
Yes.
If you had to put a number on it, Joe, what's the number of increase the lead number? Because again, we have people watching this show. They're like, well, what's the ROI going to be? How would you describe the increase in the number of leads?
The phone rings more.
Greg, how would you describe it in terms of you had to quantify the increase in the number of leads?
1,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
15,000. It's good. We started out having 1 to 2 a week, and now we have, typically these days, 3, 4, 5 a day, maybe some days even more.
I'm just making sure you get this. If you were going to have, I'm not trying to paint you in a corner, but if you had 1 to 2 a week, let's say you used to have like 8 a month, and now you're getting, I mean, the impact that can make on someone's business, folks. I'm just telling you, just everyone, I encourage you to marinate on that. Everybody out there can do this. Now we move on to box number 8, because that goes after 7. Determine your sustainable customer acquisition cost. You ultimately, man, if you're spending huge amounts of money paying Angie's List or Google AdWords or spending money on YouTube videos or Instagram videos or Facebook videos, it costs a lot of money to get a customer. But through this system here, Greg, the cost to acquire a customer is very inexpensive. Can you talk about what it's like to know that your lead generation system doesn't cost you $150 per lead or $200 per lead like it costs most contractors?
Yeah, we actually, we spend about $16 a month for our Google page, whatever that is. And of course, we have a fee that we pay with you, but that's, the acquisition cost for a customer for us is virtually zero. We don't do any advertising at this point. We just do the system that you say, and the calls happen. We could advertise, and I suppose as things grow and we start getting larger, then we will do that. But right now, we don't even need to spend money on advertising, directly on advertising.
So powerful. Natalie, any question you have for Greg there? Because again, you work with great clients, doctors, dentists, optometrists, lawyers, and a lot of times they go, seems a little too simple. What would you say?
Yeah, I guess my biggest question is for those who are at the gas station but don't want to get the gas, or those who have leads but don't want to call their leads, what would you say to those people who don't want to call their leads?
Everybody has that sort of spot. I have a spot in my world where doing the estimates was the tough part. It's like everybody's going to have a thing they don't like to do in the business of. You just look, if you want to succeed, the ingredients are there and you have to follow the formula. And that's that simple. This absolutely works. I don't know if I believed in the beginning when we started doing this that we would ever be millionaires. Everything's different now. Everything.
And you're getting, I'm not asking you to mention the size of the jobs, but I think it is, maybe you could clarify or interject, but I believe you're now getting multi-million-dollar inquiries. I mean, you're getting people inquiring. They're not saying, hey, could you come fix a door? Could you fix a window? Now they're going, hey, could you put the wood floor in my entire gymnasium? Could you remodel my entire house? And that all wouldn't be possible unless you had step number 9, systems. You got to have systems. And Greg, you're building systems, building processes. Even as we stand today, you're building systems, putting stuff on the whiteboard, putting stuff on checklists, building the systems real time. Box number 10, you got to manage people. We have entire courses, podcasts, shows, workshops dedicated to the art of finding great people. Box number 11, you got to build a schedule that makes sense for you and your family. Box number 12, you have to hire, inspire, train and retain good people. That's a challenge in and of itself. We have a system for that too, how to hire, inspire, train, and retain people. Box number 13, you got to do your accounting. It turns out that you're not a bank, I'm not a bank, and if we act like a bank, it won't go well. What am I saying? We can't extend ridiculous credit terms to our clients. We can't operate like a bank. We can't lend our clients money that we don't have to impress people that we don't know. We have to get our clients to pay us. We have to quote properly. There's so much to it. So I'm going to go to a final thought here from Joe, and then a final thought from Greg. Somebody out there is going, okay, are you telling me, because I'm in a small town, that if I do this, it's going to work? Someone says, I'm in a big town. Are you telling me it works? Joe, what do you say to somebody out there who's on the fence about maybe scheduling a free 13-point assessment at thrivetimeshow.com?
Just do it. Schedule it, and yes, it works. It's you get pictures and videos and reviews and talk to customers, and you just do what Clay says, and it works.
Greg, you know, when we charge people $1,700 a month, $1,700 per month, we make a 20% profit margin. What does that mean? It means we have great people like Natalie who work here who get paid. Turns out we've got utility bills. We have graphic designers, photographers, web developers. We have a whole team. You know, those are a whole team supporting you. And we try to charge our clients as little as possible. So we often will do $1,700 a month. That's our deal, $1,700 a month. And then we typically, these relationships evolve over time into partnerships or non-equity partnerships. But no matter how you look at it and how you see it, how would you describe the return on investment for the $1,700 a month you pay versus the results that you're getting?
You're almost waiting for the punchline at the end. When you say, I hired a guy at $1,700 a month to build my website and turn my business from zero to millions for $1,700 a month, and you stop talking, I think they're waiting for the punchline. There isn't one. That is the bargain of the century. I mean, I paid that much money to a guy just to write SEO, as he said, before I met you, and the phone never rang. No one ever called. So paid a lot of money for it, but we didn't get anything out of it. So we certainly do here.
I am going to make sure that everybody out there, I want to make sure everyone, if you're watching this show, I want to make sure that you can kind of pay it forward for Greg and his family there. And how do you do that? You go to, if you learned anything on today's show, maybe you say, Clay, I actually lost IQ points as a result of the show. That's okay. But if you learned anything at all or benefit at all from today's show, go to TulsaWoodFloorsandMore.com. Just go to the website. And it would be great if you could share a link to their website, because every time that anyone shares a link to the website, it helps the website rank higher in those search engine results. That's called a backlink. So for anybody out there, if you're watching today's show, please go to Tulsa Wood Floors and More and share the link to today's show, or share the actual web address itself. Go to TulsaWoodFloorsandMore.com and copy the link, share it somewhere. That'll help Greg and his incredible team to have their website rank higher. Joe, thank you so much. Greg, thank you so much for carving out time. I know you have a very busy day today. Thank you for dropping what you were doing to come join us. And thank you for encouraging everybody out there.
Thanks, Natalie. Thanks, Clay.
See you guys.
But that Clay Clark, man, he is one character.
It's a good word for him. Character. Yeah, that is it.
Good, driven, smart. And I've never met a guy who was so hyper all the time. He's doing so much good. And then I met his mother, and she just says, she just lets him be Clay Clark. I mean, so he's endorsed by his mother, and he's doing magnificent work. So it was great meeting you out there and all the people that he surrounds himself with. Clay Clark starts his days at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah, he's a machine. He's a machine.
Yeah. But I have problems with my company starting at 9 o'clock. Yes, hundreds of people showing up at 5 a.m. in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Man, he's a leader of a leader. He's a fantastic young man.
Oh, he is. He is. Yeah. And it's for the folks that aren't familiar with you, and probably few and far between, I first came across you, gosh, probably 15 years ago, or maybe even 20.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
Whoa.